Vera Tisheff is someone I'm very fortunate to be able to call my mentor. I love working with her and just being able to be there to absorb and learn from her passion and wisdom and experience in all things relating to music and life. She's really been there, and her musical instinct is so keen, and she's so perceptive on every level that to work with her is to have your life completely transformed. Um, I'll just say a few things. It's impossible to go over everything, especially verbally. The best way to get to know her is to observe her at work, or to work with her yourself if you find yourself in that fortunate position. Um, as a composer, she has guided me toward a method of composing that involves writing an entire movement or piece of music based on a single idea. Um, Instead of throwing away good material, I've learned how to embrace it and allow it to unfold naturally without getting in the way. And as a pianist, she's done a very similar thing. She's unlocked certain doors for me technically that have allowed me to experience music more fully. And that has a lot to do with my physical relationship to the instrument, and it has a lot to do with my listening. She's taught me that there's no difference between technique and musicianship, that to play with beautiful technique that is suitable to your personality, to your physical disposition, is to make beautiful sounding music. That if you're doing anything to get in the way of that, or to explicitly state something musical, something that you might intellectually think of as musical, if you're doing anything to impede the process of actually making good music, just plain and simple, physically making good music at your instrument, then you're stifling the musical instinct. Whereas if you learn how to not get in the way of, but just simply be there for the music as it's happening, it's going to take on a life of its own, and you're going to find a true voice that is your own. It's at once very universal and very personal. So she's really liberated me as a player. I used to go sit down to play a gig, and I would often feel a little bit like, what is this instrument? What is my relationship with it? And what do I do? Now I sit down and I just feel at peace and at one with the instrument. And that's not to say that I play perfectly, but it doesn't matter. I relax well and I play naturally, and good things happen as a result. So she's taught me how to come up with a style that is not forced, that is very natural. And there's been a certain amount of untraining that has occurred in order to achieve that, and that is occurring still. And lastly, I want to touch upon being an ensemble player, playing with other musicians, and how she's taught me a way of listening that is much deeper than I had tapped into before, which completely changes the decisions you make when you're playing with other musicians. So that you become, if you're sort of in a more improvisatory setting, for example, you're not improvising based on any sort of intellectual or preconceived notions of what you should play, but you're improvising from a very well-informed place of deep listening, even to the extent that it doesn't feel like improvisation really exists anymore. What really exists is very deep listening and results that are just a natural extension of that process. So that just sums up a few things that she's shared, and the work continues. And I'm so excited every time I get the opportunity to sit down in her living room and make music. So Vera, thank you for everything that you do. You're just wonderful, and I'm so glad to know you. Thank you.